Hello, welcome to Ascension Arcana Tarot. This is Christine with a reading on the new moon in Libra and the solar eclipse, which is happening tomorrow. This is a general collective reading, so as always, please take what resonates and leave the rest behind. Let's see. God, what does this collective need to know? That's so funny. I feel like the Four of Wands like chases me in my readings. I love that card. I feel like it's just a wink. It's just a wink at me. It's very cute. That's cute. All right, God. What does this collective need to know about the energy of this solar eclipse? We have the Four of Pentacles. I feel like if you're in this collective, you're going to be holding on to something and maybe having some fear around moving forward. We have the Justice and the Nine of Swords cards. We have a lot of anxiety with that Four of Pentacles and the Nine of Swords. Let me think of how to explain this. So the Nine of Swords is, it's literally a card of anxiety. It's a card of kind of being up all night and worrying, but the swords are kind of like false worries. They're like kind of bolted to the wall, right? So it's like that energy that I talk about with the swords, where it's really more of like that mental chatter or like ego doubts rather than something that's actually like standing in your way. And then the Justice card is showing something coming in and balancing. That I just actually felt like a little bit of an energy of fear from that, which was really interesting. I don't feel like I usually get like a fearful feeling from the Justice card. So if you're in this collective, you may be having anxiety around how like a situation is going to balance out or how a situation is going to turn out. I just wonder if like you have maybe had some behaviors that were not aligned with your highest self in terms of like your beliefs or your ethical standards. If maybe you behaved in a way that deviated from your usual moral compass, and now you're maybe having some anxiety around that energy kind of coming back. So the Four of Swords feels to me, sorry, not the Four of Swords, the Four of Pentacles. That was kind of a funny word fumble. So I'll talk about that one next since it has decided to make itself known in the reading. The Four of Pentacles is feeling like that energy to me of like clinging and being afraid to move forward. Because like the things that are kind of in front of you feel like what's safe. And it feels like letting go of those and kind of moving into the unknown feels very unsafe. So there's something here about this karmic balancing, this justice energy coming in that's making you feel very unsafe. But I actually feel like with the Ace of Swords, it's a huge like clearing of energy. So whatever this situation represents for you, if there was a time or a place where maybe you did kind of deviate from your moral compass, maybe you just weren't acting as your best self and you made a choice or spoke to someone in a way that was like unkind or kind of not your usual way that you would prefer to behave, right? Like maybe you were in some sort of extreme situation. I'm actually even feeling court with this, like maybe going through a court case, maybe even going through a divorce where there's like some contest, like some fighting, and maybe you're not acting as your best self because like you and your ex are kind of pushing each other's buttons, right? But I feel like even though you kind of have this fear and anxiety around this karmic balancing, it's actually going to be the most like freeing, incredible thing. All I'm drawn to is just the clarity of like this singular sword and the bird flying, right? So I kind of am seeing you like taking off as a result of this. So it's almost like what I'm hearing is that this is as bad as it's going to get. This is as bad as it's going to get. So whatever this choice is, whatever this, I would almost call it like a mistake, right? It's not really aligned with like who you are and your values. You're just having a bad day or a bad time or something, and you just kind of did something that wasn't aligned with your highest self, right? If you're in this collective, I feel like you'll probably know what that is. It'll be something that you feel some guilt and worry about, right? So it feels very anxiety provoking, the idea of the universe kind of balancing that energy, but it's almost like ripping off a Band-Aid. It's just going to happen. The universe balances energy. That's what the universe does. So as this comes in, I'm trying to think of how to explain this the way that I'm feeling it. I feel like you're afraid that something bad is going to happen to you. So it feels like an energy of punishment. Like, the example that keeps coming to me is like a hit and run accident. So let's say that happened, right? Where you were driving down the road, you like sideswiped someone's car and you just kept driving and you didn't like leave them your insurance information or anything like that. So the feeling that I'm getting is like, if you're in this collective, you're afraid that now the universe is going to like get revenge against you or sort of like get you back for doing this thing that was like kind of shady and kind of illegal, and like that you shouldn't have done that, but you had kind of just made like that poor judgment in that moment, and then it kind of became like too late to do anything about it, right? I think you're afraid that the universe is like going to get revenge on you, almost like a little kid would or something, right? But this balancing, I don't feel like it has to be that way. It could be that maybe you're like I don't know, like an EMT, and you end up in just the right place at just the right time, and you like save somebody from choking to death. And somehow that's like this kind of karmic balancing, right? Like the universe brought that situation to you in order to sort of help you like repair the energy from the previous choice that you had made that was kind of misaligned. So I hope that makes sense. That's the examples that are coming to me. So it feels like it's not, the universe doesn't want to hurt you or like get revenge against you or punish you or anything like that. So if that's a belief system that you're kind of carrying, I can absolutely see how that would give you this sort of fear of moving forward and just this anxiety, like even the swords kind of hanging over her head on the wall. It feels like that this situation is sort of eating away at you and like hanging over your head, right? But it's going to feel really good. I feel like the example that I gave, right? Like maybe you made that misaligned choice and you sideswiped the car and you like didn't take responsibility, but then you saved someone's life. And then the universe kind of considers that karmic debt like paid off, right? It kind of like equalized the energy. And I just get that feeling where kind of slicing through that energy is completely severed and resolved, and just the complete clarity that comes with that, releasing all this burden of worry and anxiety, and you just being so light and soaring away like this bird on the card. It's like really beautiful. It's really beautiful. So it's kind of like your karma's being called in, and it's okay to just release the fear around that and let the universe help you balance it in a way that's like really appropriate for you. I do feel like it's going to have something to do with like timing. Like you're just in the right place at just the right time to like, save somebody from like walking in front of traffic, or like give somebody advice that ends up being something they look back on 20 years later and it like changed their life or something. Like this is not a situation that you have to like force or bring about. This feels like a situation that the universe is kind of bringing to you. And I feel like your job here is just to be open to that. So where you're kind of called by the universe to like share your wisdom or your strength or your talents. You know, I feel like that's the call, is like to do that, right? And then you kind of can repair. I don't know how else to explain that. I don't feel like that's necessarily the right word, but I feel like that's what's coming to me, is just like kind of repair any past karma from like mistakes that you have made. It feels really beautiful. And I feel like this Chariot here is just sort of reflecting a similar energy as the bird. I'm even noticing that they're like kind of slanted in the same direction, the body of the bird and like the body of the horse. But just really like taking off, charging forward. So this energy of fear and anxiety really holding you back, and finally being able to resolve that and like letting go of that guilt and that feeling sort of trapped by like whatever this misaligned choice was that you made, being able to just completely take off. The Chariot is a card of determination, of victory. I feel like that just came out in our weekly reading and another recent reading. I feel like I've explained the Chariot a lot lately. It's one of my favorite cards because it's one of my zodiac cards for the sign of Cancer. But yeah, I just am super drawn to, I just noticed something too. I feel like I'm drawn to the horses. One is black and one is white. With that sort of opposites energy of like the eclipse, right? So this is going to be a solar eclipse, which means that the moon is going to pass between the earth and the sun. It's a new moon, and it's an annular eclipse. So it's not going to cover completely the sun. It will be like a kind of a ring. It's called a ring of fire. So the moon will be a little smaller than the disk of the sun, and you'll see like a ring of fire of the sun. I'm just drawn to that duality of the black and white horse and like the dark moon and the bright sun kind of in the eclipse. Like, it's really powerful. I feel like you're sort of moving through this really black and white thinking of yourself as like good or bad, right? Like, I feel like we all have good, quote, good and quote bad within us, right? We all have times where we maybe have an impulse to do or say or think something or whatever that maybe is not very kind, right? Or not very helpful. I really am drawn to that. I feel like there's something extraordinarily powerful there, because I feel like you kind of gaining that contrast helps you almost like reaffirm your moral choices or like align with your internal compass even more strongly. So maybe like in my example with sideswiping the car, right? Maybe you sideswipe the car and you just now feel so horrible about it that you're like, I'm never doing anything like that again. Like, next time I make a mistake, I'm just going to own it, right? And it sort of helps you kind of gain that clarity that that's what aligns for you, like in your heart, is just owning the mistake, right? I like that. That feels really cool. I keep like having, I don't have words to express what I'm experiencing right now. I keep seeing visions of the eclipse and like the dark and the light, and kind of flashing between dark and light and seeing the dark and light of the horses. It's really powerful. I don't really understand the message that it's trying to give me right now. I'm just like having these visions. It feels like overwhelmingly powerful. That's all I can say about it. I feel like part of what this is you becoming like a new version of you. So the eclipse almost acting as like a portal. I talked in the last eclipse about how, for me, eclipse energy is all about sort of bringing the darkness into the light, right? Sort of pulling that darkness out and like shining a light on it or illuminating a light on it, bringing up that energy of maybe things that we're ashamed of, things that we want to avoid, old traumas, right? Like abuse can be brought up by that. And it's kind of shining a light for us on those places that really need love and really need healing. And I feel like for you, this is that. This is that. So I don't know. It may be for some of you who are listening that it's sort of some like deep, dark things that have happened in your past, right? Or maybe behaviors that you had during different times when you were struggling or working through different things. And really just sort of letting that kind of come out into the light. I was going to say be dragged out into the light, but that energy doesn't feel appropriate because it feels like a surrender. It feels like surrendering to like allowing yourself to kind of see those parts of you, right? That maybe you're ashamed of, that feel kind of dark. Like maybe you think of yourself as a nice person and you are a nice person, but I think even nice people sometimes do things that are not great, and that's okay. Like none of us are perfect. And it's okay to just take an honest look at those pieces in yourself, right? And kind of let the universe do its thing in terms of balancing that. So the 9 of Wands, sorry, I'm shifting on my my chair. I'm like really restless and it's kind of noisy. The 9 of Wands, it's like a defensive energy. I feel like this has to do with what I was just talking about in terms of like letting those dark places like come up to the surface. It feels like Abraham Hicks talks about this. She talks about it as letting go of your cork. So basically, like she's saying, if we let go of resistance and sort of let go of the cork, it's our natural tendency to be buoyant and easy and like peaceful and float at the surface of the water. And it's only like the ego and the fears that kind of like hold on to that cork and drag it down. And I'm feeling the energy here, like you giving yourself permission to just surrender and let all this stuff just sort of float up to the surface of your consciousness. And kind of releasing any tendency there to be defensive. Sometimes this stuff is really hard to look at, right? Like that maybe like sideswiping the car was really a shameful thing for you, or I just keep giving that as an example. It doesn't have to be that at all. This could be a time that you betrayed someone or like cheated on a relationship partner or something, right? It could have been like a really devastating, life-changing thing that happened. Being able to just be really compassionate and present with yourself as this energy is kind of coming to the surface. And I feel like part of it too is just admitting that it happened, right? Like you can kind of avoid it or be anxious about it all day, but if you sideswiped a car, at the end of the day, it happened whether or not you want to like admit it to yourself, right? So I feel like just sort of that very honest act of really looking at yourself and being like, you know what, I feel horrible that I did this, but yeah, I did that. Like I made that choice. And kind of choosing to just put the defenses down, right? So you don't want to kind of have shields up with yourself, then you're not going to be able to heal it. Really making that active choice to put the defenses down and say like, it's okay. I choose to forgive myself for this and I'm going to love myself anyways, even though I made this mistake. Next we have the King of Cups. He's like the king of compassion. I definitely feel that. Like have so much compassion for yourself as this stuff is coming up to the surface. Eclipses are very powerful. And this energy is no joke. And, I'm being kind of silly about it being like a sideswipe car, but whatever this is feels very painful for you. And I feel like you have a lot of anxiety and like legit fear around sort of this karma, like coming back or having that karma balanced, And again, I just feel called to say, I don't feel like this is the universe like getting revenge on you or punishing you or anything like that. I very much feel like this is you being in the right place at the right time, to share something that's really special and unique. That's like a gift that only you could have brought this situation. So again, like being an EMT and saving a choking victim, right? Or like maybe you're a business person and you give someone some business advice and they end up making like a crazy successful charity. And, you know, they look back and they're like, the best advice I ever got is this random guy who I was waiting at like the crosswalk with or whatever, you know? I don't know why I keep seeing people like outside on the street. This is the second time I've given an example like that. So yeah, I feel like the universe is helping you clear whatever this debt is in like a really magnificent way that probably won't even feel like that big of a deal to you. But I do feel like you're going to feel this relief and clarity. And man, I just feel this chariot just like rocketing forward like a jet. Like you're just going to take off on your spiritual path. So this is interesting. We have the Lovers, the Five of Swords, and the Two of Cups. I feel like, so the Five of Swords for me is an energy of betrayal, of someone kind of winning in like a sneakier, underhanded way that sort of screws everybody else over. So like one person in this situation, the Five of Swords situation, one person is kind of like the bully and the other two people sort of lose, but the guy who won did it in like a really underhanded way. I feel like that actually is relating to me with the energy of whatever this situation is that's balancing. Like it could have been something that turned out your way, but it sort of had like a shady vibe to it. So you sort of won, like quote won in a way, like sideswiping the car. Like maybe one could think that you know, were victorious in that situation because you didn't get caught or whatever, right? But it's just that energy, that kind of that like shady bullying energy, that doesn't feel great. So I feel like if you are in this collective, that's the energy that you're going to be, I was going to say looking for, but I don't feel like you're really going to be looking for it. I feel like as this past situation kind of floats to the surface or bubbles to the surface, you will just recognize that energy where it's a place where you sort of look like you were victorious, but really it wasn't a true victory for you because there was something like shady or underhanded about it. The Lovers and the Two of Cups here could definitely be speaking about a relationship. So this could be a situation where maybe something like that happened in a past relationship where you behaved unfairly with a past relationship partner. I'm also feeling called to say that the Lovers represents that choice, right? So I've talked about this before where it's a major arcana card of kind of two paths or two choices before you. One choice is not aligned with love, and one choice is very clearly aligned with love. So in this situation, I feel like it's going to be very obvious to you what is the path that's aligned with love, right? Probably it's not to go around sideswiping people's cars anymore. Like probably it's not to go around acting shady or like betraying people. And I feel like you learned that lesson. Like if this is you, your conscience has been eating you up about this. I really feel like it's okay to forgive yourself, like really forgive yourself, kind of let down those defenses, be so compassionate and just choose the path of love. You know, if it was like a little child, right? If it was a little like 4-year-old or 5-year-old child who did something and made a mistake, you would probably talk to them and just explain to them why their choice was not the best choice, right? And maybe suggest like what they could do next time. And I kind of feel like that's what this is for you. Like just reminding yourself like, well, me doing that thing was probably not the best choice, right? That felt really bad. And next time I can just do this. And that's really the extent of it, you know? You don't have to beat yourself up in order to learn your lesson. The Two of Cups is really sweet. I feel like this is like a very, like romantic card of these two figures coming together in marriage. They're getting handfasted and they have like these beautiful glowing cups. I feel like I don't usually get this energy from this card, but as I'm looking at it, the word that's coming off of it to me is reconciliation. So there may be an opportunity here, especially if this energy is from a relationship. There may be an opportunity here over the next few days to somehow reconcile like the kind of the wrong that you did, for lack of a better word. And I feel like by being honest, by putting down your defenses, right? By being really in touch with those emotions. And I feel like even these two figures are approaching each other with those cups, right? Which in the tarot represents emotions. If this was like a partner that maybe you wronged in a way, coming to them kind of with that like cup of emotion is what I'm seeing in my mind's eye, and saying like, hey, I made this choice. I feel really bad about it. That choice was not aligned with love. And kind of letting them know that you're making different choices, right? That you didn't like that you made that choice. And that's okay. You can always apologize, right? And say that you'd like to make a different choice next time. Yeah, this is a cool energy. I feel like this eclipse is helping to bring this situation out so that you can just clear it. Like really clear it and move forward. It's beautiful. This Ace of Swords and the Chariot energy feels so lovely to me. And I know that if you're in this collective and you are working kind of collaboratively with the energy of the eclipse that I'm reading here, this is going to be your outcome, and it's going to feel so awesome to just have that weight and that burden just completely like stripped off of your shoulders, and then just, you know, propelling forward like you're in a jet. It's like a really cool feeling. So in honor of the eclipse, I would like to use the Moonology cards. What advice do you have for this collective, God, for the energy of the new moon in Libra eclipse? We have believe in the impossible, blue moon, and a personal issue reaches resolution, full moon in Cancer. Yeah, that's lovely. I feel the energy that I'm getting is that you are like pretty hard on yourself. And I feel like it's almost impossible for you to believe that this situation could be like balanced and made right. So I feel like part of what this is you just being willing to suspend your disbelief and like surrender to the universe, because the universe is bringing justice here. This is something that I don't know how to, it's being like put upon you and put into your life. This is not a situation that you have to seek out in order to balance it. The universe is bringing you this opportunity. And I feel like it's not something that you're going to miss. Like it'll just happen. And I think you just being you, it will just balance this energy naturally. And just being willing to believe in that the universe like loves you, and that the universe doesn't want to punish you or like harm you in order to sort of get revenge. I really feel like that fear from this Four of Pentacles and the Nine of Swords cards, believe that the universe can bring that balancing through love, right? And having you kind of offer your unique gifts in order to bring that about. I feel like that's really beautiful. And then a personal issue reaches resolution is everything that we just talked about right through this whole reading. This is the personal issue, is whatever situation happened that has caused you this fear and worry to begin with, right? And having it finally be resolved, having that karma finally be balanced, right? That energy finally be balanced, and just what a weight off your shoulders that is. And no more of these swords hanging over your head, and no more of like this fear of what's going to come in. Like you get to just breathe a big sigh of relief and just let it go. And it feels really good. It feels really good. I feel like having faith here is going to be helpful. Because you're kind of not in control of this, right? I mean, like I said, it's like the thing already happened. Whatever this thing is that you did, it's already been done. So either kind of admit it to yourself and just love yourself there. Otherwise, you just kind of stay in denial, right? I feel like that's relating to this Nine of Wands card. What I'm seeing is you're either on this side of the wands, like the front side, like she is, or you're kind of trapped like behind the wands wall. And you definitely want to be on this side of the wall, kind of ready to move forward and not kind of trapped behind whatever this is. I'm going to pull an animal card. I think one just flipped. Oh, that's so beautiful. Okay, I love this deck. It's awesome. Fierce wolf, intelligence, instinct, protection. Fierce hunter and protector, be the guardian and guide of my journey. That's really lovely. I feel like these cards that this deck, they're all kind of like have this moon glow about them. It's probably why I love them so much. I have a thing for like white animals. But I feel like you can say this if you want to, kind of this little prayer down here, or call in if you have like ancestors or spirit guides or angels or God, like whatever resonates for you, call in that sort of protection and that love, right? I mean, you could even say to God, like, I feel really scared. I'm afraid that I'm going to be punished, right, for making this mistake or making this decision. And just be honest about how you feel. Like, that's okay. It's okay to feel scared. And I just keep coming back to this King of Cups, like having so much compassion, so much sweetness for yourself. Really just being able to be with those feelings and release like any desire to beat yourself up there or to judge yourself there, and just let yourself have made a mistake and let it be okay. This is awesome. I feel like this might be a little scary to go through in the moment, but I feel that once this eclipse energy passes and the situation has like resolved for you, you're going to feel amazing. These two cards feel really, really good. So I hope that was helpful. As always, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment, as all of those things help me as I'm growing my channel. I hope you guys enjoy this very cool eclipse, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.